Julio Jones is master of his domain. A couple of top fantasy quarterbacks are bit by the injury bug, and we get you set for waiver wire pickups in week 5. All this and much, much more coming at you now on the Fantasy Dopes podcast. Welcome to the Fantasy Dopes podcast. I'm your host and father figure, Michael Warren Herbert III and IV. We have much to get to at the quarter mark here of the NFL season, but first let's get to some exciting news about our podcast. I'd like to welcome in the one and only fantasy guru, head dope, John Fazio. John, what do you want to share with the people?
Well, Herbert, thank you very much. We have a lot of updates, I guess you could say, for this whole podcast, not only on audio, but we have a lot of stuff going down this past weekend. Basically connected with one of my friends who helped develop the website. We're live. Our website is www.fantasydopes.com. There you can click on our Facebook, create a Facebook. We have our Twitter, also have a SoundCloud, a YouTube, which we're verified in. And obviously, most importantly, the website will be our main hub of your information from us. So each week we plan on posting updates, rankings each week to get you set for your fantasy lineups, I should say, week to week.
I'm excited about it. I mean, my mom's excited because she can follow us on the Facebook. And I'm excited. The website is great. Obviously, Twitter is going to be great for news and all that sort of stuff. But the things we can keep posting, we can update our lists. We can update the viewer. You at home, all of you people, all 7 of you, you're going to get updates. It's wonderful. Check it all out. FantasyDopes.com. You get links to all the social things, all that. A beautiful picture of Jill, who's not with us. She got lost in Cleveland trying to get the whole Terrell Pryor thing going on, but we'll get her back.
Well, no, she's still tracking down Josh Gordon, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Josh Gordon, my bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
I think we had to send her to a couple of like gully spots, some water holes, some hole in the walls. It's getting a little ugly out there, but I think she can make it out okay.
Yeah, she'll be fine. She's tough. She's stronger than both of us. She's a tough woman.
And if I just want to mention, people on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, everything is at Fantasy Dopes. Type it in, you'll see our logo, which you'll see on the website, on Twitter. Pretty much everywhere that you go, you'll see the logo. That's us. Please give us a follow, a like, even give us some suggestions. If you don't like what you hear, please tell me. I have tough skin, man. If you say we're a complete shit show, please. And I would like to hear constructive criticism, what we can do to improve. So I'm all ears on this one, man. If anyone has any suggestions at all, please don't hesitate to fire away. I will not get offended at all.
One thing I will not do is put on pants, but that's just saying.
Well, that's normal. That's normal.
That's normal. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I podcast better than the nude. All right, let's hit the week 4 recap, shall we?
Let's go.
All right, you dopey dopes. Are you all right? Are we good, Johnny?
Yeah, we're ready. I'm ready to roll here.
All right, so before we let you all in on the top waiver wire pickups for week 5, let's discuss the most notable events of week 4. Let's look back and let's do our weekly recap. All right, let's start off. I mean, who can we start off with other than Julio Jones? What a monstrous day. 12 catches, 300 yards, 1 TD, 58 plus points for PPR leagues plus your bonuses and whatnot. I mean, a monster day, John. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, our bonuses work as 2 yards after a 125-yard day. 150 is 3 points, and 200 is 5. So that's a total of, was that 9 points, right? Or 10 points. Sorry.
I don't have pants on. Don't ask me to do math.
I'm not a good person at math, but now that I think about it, it's 10 points. So
it's a lot. Yeah, you can get also points for 40-yard catches. Anything over 40 yards can be a point in some leagues. So the dude was a monster. I mean, he shut down. If anyone going up against him, like John Fazio, lost.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of my leagues, I was going up against him. I was not happy at all at his performance. We'll get a little bit more to that later. I don't want to spoil our little update we got going. So,
all right, we'll keep it moving. But I just want to give only 6 people, I believe, in the NFL have hit 300 yards. Flipper Anderson, 336 with the most ever, and that was in 1999. As a member of
it was 1989.
that too, also 1989. Just making sure you're listening. As a member of the old Los Angeles Rams, of course, I'm sure, John, you remember Cloyce Box getting 302 yards in 1950 against the Colts of Baltimore. And most recently, Calvin Johnson, 329 yards against the Cowboys in 2013. An amazing mark. Obviously, Matt Ryan put up big numbers as well. What can you say?
Yeah, I mean, damn you, Julio Jones. I wish you did do this on a week I wasn't facing you, but
Yeah,
can't hate on the game. He had a monstrous, monumental day. So did Matt Ryan, 500 plus yards.
yeah.
Uh, that's all I'm gonna say about that for now.
Let's move it on. Cam Newton sustained a concussion while running or not running as it was or were into the end zone. What the hell happened there, John?
Yeah, it seems like he just lost his sense of focus, I guess. Ever since the Super Bowl against the Broncos, when he didn't dive for that ball, he kind of had like quick, not really quick feet, but just hesitated. Seems like the similar thing happened. This time, obviously, he was going for a touchdown, but he kind of like was going to dive, and then all of a sudden he just stopped. Like his body just went up, and then got nailed by the defender. Came out of the game, and Derek Anderson kind of took over, but I mean, it's just odd. He just doesn't look like he's comfortable diving.
It was a very odd play, and again, not that long ago that he did a similar. I mean, in the Super Bowl, you just look like he didn't want to get his hands dirty and dive in there. This, I don't know if he just didn't have any on-field awareness, or was it that he didn't want to dive? Even if he just put his shoulder down and kept running, it was just like it was very weird. Concussion protocol, all sorts of problems in Carolina. I will say that Derek Anderson came in and looked fantastic. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, I don't know if Olsen had a catch before Cam Newton got injured and Anderson came in. It seemed like Olsen was his trusted target, and he had a huge day, actually. He had the touchdown. I believe he had over 100 yards to finish the day. So, if Cam misses out, that's, I guess, good news for Greg Olsen owners, kind of bad news for Cam Newton. And we'll
yeah,
get to some streaming options at quarterback later on in the show. But I mean, if you're a Greg Olsen fan, you're kind of excited that he was actually throwing to him. So if he does miss time, that's not a bad thing for you.
yeah. I don't know what to think there. I'm not a Carolina fan, so God bless. Moving on. Also, the quarterback position, Carson Palmer, excuse me, also sustained a concussion Sunday against the Rams. Didn't have a good fantasy day either. The Rams defense is looking ferocious all of a sudden. Palmer, what was he, 23 for 36, 280 yards, a TD, and an interception. Bruce Arians said he's not playing Thursday night. It's a short week, and they're going against the 49ers, which is a bummer also if you're a Palmer fan, because you probably would have put up big numbers. So, I don't know. What's your take on Palmer?
Did Arians say that he was not going to play? Because the last I saw, they said that he might play, but it's like it didn't seem like it was confident. Like it's not 100% just yet.
Yeah, I
But
guess so. Maybe I'm reading into it a little bit. I mean, it's a short week. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, somebody going to the concussion protocol, it's very unlikely that he's going to play. I would assume this is going to get announced after the show records. So, if you're an owner of David Johnson, I still think you run him out there. Even Larry Fitzgerald, he's just been so reliable so many years. I don't think it matters who's a quarterback. He's still going to get his looks. Maybe if you're a Michael Floyd owner and a John Brown owner, I should say, it might be more difficult to slot them in. Obviously, it depends on your roster, but tune into our rankings podcast, which will come out tomorrow, and you will have an answer to that for sure.
And again, fantasydopes.com for up to the minute information and updates. So,
Yes, and also Twitter too. Twitter will be our main hub to get all news updates and injuries from players. So definitely follow our Twitter if you want to keep up everything fantasy related to news.
all right, Sunday night game. Mike Tomlin, before the game, called it a redemption game, a redemption Sunday for the Steelers, and they delivered. I mean, they absolutely shellacked the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it was a tough game if you're a Chiefs fan. Le'Veon Bell came back strong, as we said he would, as Tomlin said he would. 144 yards on 18 carries, 5 or 6 catches for 34 yards. Strong game. Antonio Brown, 2 touchdowns, 300 yards thrown for Big Ben, 5 TDs. I mean, that's
Have a
That's a
day.
monster game. Have a day. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
have
I
a
mean,
day in Pittsburgh. The only good thing I'll say about Kansas City is that they have their bye week coming up, so they're gonna have to really come out strong after the bye week. So
yeah, that was
um,
embarrassing.
for the Steelers, they're going up against the Jets, who all of a sudden now don't have a good defense, and they are not gonna go kindly into the night. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they're gonna put up a similar point value total in this game against the Jets. So if you have any Steelers on offense and your fantasy team, might be a good look to start all of them.
Absolutely. I think, they were talking about this on the broadcast Sunday night too, but Tomlin and the Steelers really thinking that their loss a week ago was really one of the best things that could have happened to them, to be honest. So interesting stuff there. And yeah, if you're a Steeler fan, you're happy. And if you have a bunch of them on your team, you happy. So good stuff. All right. Our good buddy Odell Beckham, who, for people like ourselves, you gotta love him. He's giving you, if he's not giving you points, he's at least giving you something to talk about. A rough night along with the rest of the team in Minnesota. Only caught 4 balls, which second lowest of his career.
That's correct.
Only 23 yards, which worst of his career. So basically a career low night. Did not let us down though. Did throw a tantrum again. The pushing, the shoving. I mean, they're. I mean, it's like my 5-year-old. They're picking on him when the refs aren't looking. He's like, you didn't see me. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say that good job on the defenders that are going after him. They're pretty much game planning as much as they can against this guy, and it's working. So he came out on Tuesday and basically said, "I don't know if I'm doing the right thing anymore. I'm not having fun." It's like, dude, you're the face. Besides Eli, but you're one of the faces of the franchise. You can't be saying those kind of things. It's to a point where management, coaches, everyone's gonna have to gather into a room and just sit this guy down and say, "Listen, man, cool your head for a second. You're a great player. Don't let these defenders get to your head at all. You're gonna get your looks. Just give it time."
He's. I mean, they really need to get a sports psychologist in there. I have to. I mean, he's got great hair though. The volume of the hair, the lift, the blonde, I do love it. So I don't want him to retire. I want to see the hair, and it's something to watch every week. But
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird.
the hair I'll say is unique. It definitely fits his style and his character. I'll give it that. The only upset pick that we pretty much got wrong all the way was this kicking net.
Yeah,
Did not make an appearance against Odell Beckham. Didn't get any points, so we apologize for that one.
but stay tuned. I mean, I think it's worth if you pick them up if you can stash them, right? I mean, could make another appearance.
He may show up again in MetLife Stadium.
This is not the last of OBJ or the kicking net. All right, moving on. Tajay Sharp, who I believe you was your boy, or Golden Tate. Who's more disappointing?
Can we say both? Uh, they've both been very disappointing. I mean, I'll say Tate only because he was benched in the second half against the Bears. Stafford completely shit the bed this whole game. Golden Tate has 94 yards through 4 games. You spent at least $30 on this guy in auction. You picked him in either the third or fourth round in standard snake drafting. So, I mean, it's getting disappointing, and it's almost to the point where you might have to drop him if you're in a tight pickle with bye weeks or what have you. There's a chance you have to drop him because he's not getting any production.
And they have other weapons on the team. Marvin Jones, clearly the number one guy there. I don't care what anyone says. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even a question who if I had to pick between the two. As you said, you're talking about dropping Tate. It's and there are Theo Riddick. There's guys on that team. There
Eric
are
Ebron.
yeah, and again but also what's scary. Detroit as a whole. How do they look so good and so formidable, and then look so terrible against the Bears?
Yeah, the worst defense, one of the worst defenses in the league, in my opinion. It's the NFL, man. It's just everything. Every week's a surprise.
It's like high school football out there with some of these numbers. these guys are putting up and flip flopping. It's nutty, but I love it.
Yeah, so just to go back to Tate, just to go back to Tate. I guess in a 10-man league, I would drop him if I were to really analyze this. 12-man to 16, I think I would just bench him for now. Like I said, if you're really hurting on buys and you need somebody to pick up, then you have no choice maybe to drop him. But I know he's playing this week, so might just have to keep him around for now and see how things go. But it's not looking good for his outlook.
He's the golden taint. Can I say that? Is that allowed? I don't even
Sure,
know if
you said it
but
now, so
I just
you're in
said
it.
it. All right. What about Tajay Shizarp?
It's Tajay Sharp.
Yeah, Tajay. Listen, for you white guys, it's Tajay Sharp.
But yeah, he is disappointing because he's the number one receiver on the team. Titans offense hasn't
Or
really been.
is
I still think he is. We kind of talked about Kendall Wright on the podcast Friday, but he really didn't show up on Sunday. So I mean, he had seven targets last week. He just didn't have any touchdowns. He had minimal amount of yards. So for me, it's going to be tough to bench him this week because they're playing Miami. They're in Miami. There's a good chance that they can break out their offense this week, and he might have a touchdown because coaches have been talking down on him recent weeks. So it's either you step up now, or we're going to consider other guys in the offense going forward. So again, we'll talk about this in the next podcast.
All right. Well, let's get out of the toilet. Let's talk some positive. Terrence West, Jordan Howard, and DeMarco Murray. Go. What are your thoughts?
So West and Howard, they both got their first starts of the season Sunday. And listen, both of them didn't disappoint at all. They had over 100 yards. West got the touchdown, not Howard. But Howard was a little banged up, had a groin injury, came out, had to get helped off the field. But he did come back in right away, finished the game strong. And Fox said that, hey, the head coach John Fox said, basically, we're sticking with this guy. We like what we see out of him. And honestly, I think he's going to take Langford's job. I think Langford becomes the backup once he gets back. I know that kind of sounds crazy, but that's how the fantasy works. That's how the NFL works. The landscape changes every week, and one guy could be a bench guy, and all of a sudden he's the star. So this is coming out in terms of Weston Howard. And just with Murray, I looked it up on Yahoo. I couldn't believe it. He has the most points scored in PPR leagues as a running back, and he's in the top 5 overall. It's insane.
He's having a fantastic bounce back year. Comeback player of the year. Did he do that in the NFL? I don't know. But 6 rushing touchdowns last year. He's already got 3. He's doubled his receiving touchdowns from 1 to 2 already. And again, we're at the quarter mark. So having a monster year, if you drafted him, you're thrilled.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't know, if you have a handcuff, the Henry kid, Derrick Henry, not bad. And I guess if you're worried, the only thing you could be worried about with DeMarco Murray, he's getting a big workload. Maybe he gets beaten up at some point. So if you can handcuff him with the Henry, God bless.
Yeah, he faces off against Miami, so I expect him to have another big day, at least 1 touchdown. Sorry, Herbert. I know the Dolphins fan is kind of killing me.
I can't be a Dolphins fan. They're terrible.
You ain't wrong.
Obviously, Murray is a stud. West and Howard, who's better moving forward?
I said this on the podcast last week. I'm sticking to it. I think Howard's a league winner. And this is why I say it. Barring the fact that he's going to continue to start, which I think he will. I'll even guarantee he will, actually. I think he just runs away with the job. They face Detroit, Green Bay, and Washington. Not great defenses. This is weeks 14 to 16 when you have the fantasy playoffs. So this is a guy you're going to want to rely on if you make the playoffs. I would start him all those weeks. I don't care what the outlook is. I have no hesitation starting those guys.
Now, even with, the news broke on Tuesday, Justin Forsett released after being released before and brought back, finally released for good by the Ravens. So that's got to affect West positively, no?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. He slots into the starting role. I know Kenneth Dixon is going to be a guy we're going to talk about in our waiver segment.
Okay, Dix.
But West right now is the starter. And listen, he's going to get his looks for this week. I think he's a great play. So we're going to talk more about that in our waiver segment. So I don't want to spoil it too much, but that's all I'm going to say for now.
Fine. All right. Moving on. DeMarco Murray is also very handsome. I'm attracted to him.
Awkward.
Really? Is it? It's not for me.
A little bit.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so tight ends. Fleener, I hate him. Anyway, let's talk about some flight ends, some tight ends. Jimmy Graham, is he back?
It certainly looks like it. He put up double-digit yards back-to-back games, and coming off that patella injury, I was not expecting much from him. But now it seems like he's becoming a part of the offense that everyone thought he would when he first went to Seattle. So maybe he's over this injury. I mean, it's a tough injury to come back from, but I think you got to roll with him. I mean, now they're in a bye week, so you can't really use him. But
Well, the good news there, yeah, I mean, maybe Wilson gets healthier, rest that knee, and they keep making the connection. So,
it's just a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. I guess Tyler Lockett was supposed to be, their number two option, but hasn't really done much. Got banged up a bit. So it's really been the Doug Baldwin and Kristen Michaels show thus far. And Jimmy Graham, too.
JG Gronkowski had a monster day up in Buffalo, right?
Yeah, if you want to consider non-existent to be a monster day.
I mean,
It certainly turned fantasy owners into monsters if he started them.
but I mean, across the country, I mean, every football fan except the New England fan must just love that. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I did. Everyone was just to see the Patriots get shut out was just fantastic because unfortunately they are awesome and they're going to be awesome and the big dog is coming back. But just to see him get shut out was, I thought was nice. Can I say that? Is that allowed?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the people up in New England will probably tune out to this podcast because they're very offended when you talk about the great ones.
Oh, give me a break.
But if it makes them feel better, they'll probably put up over 40 points on Cleveland this coming Sunday. So start everybody on that offense. Blunt, Brady, Gronkowski, Edelman. Start them all.
Are you concerned about I mean, not to try to bring up the deflation gate, but I mean, yeah, I mean they're just gonna go off on Cleveland, and they could score 60
Yeah,
points.
I'm so over this Deflategate shit that I can give a fuck about that shit. Let him
I'm
play.
just glad it's behind us. Finally, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was just nauseating. So I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Let's keep going.
All right, let's talk. I don't want to talk dark horse picks from last week from our wonderful Friday night
But we
spotlight.
have to. We have to tell the people,
I mean,
we have to. This is
terrible job.
come
I
on.
did a terrible job.
I might have to replace you from the podcast. Jeez.
Although Blunt wasn't my call. I don't. Sims terrible. Crowder terrible. Wright terrible. Bolden terrible. Diggs terrible. Cruz pretty bad.
Well, he had over 10 points in PPR, so I'll give you that one.
It was true. I thought he was going to be my salvation last night. I thought he was going to find the end zone in the second half and make me look like a genius.
Yeah, he did look pretty good coming out of the second half, but Eli couldn't get anything going against the purple monsters.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden now the defense of the year.
And you know what? And good for them. They've got a beautiful stadium. I mean, that stadium is beautiful. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's Minnesota. Good for them. I'm happy for them. I mean, they lost Peterson and they lost Teddy, and look at them now. So
Yeah, I mean you can't hate at them. You can't have any hate.
you can't. Yeah.
I guess the birds that are flying around that stadium may have some hate towards them, but other than that, they're okay.
All right.
I'll just say my Thompson pick, which was my pick of the week, was actually pretty good. He had 13 points in PPR. Listen, dark horse. That's a pretty good guess. He had a touchdown,
Absolutely.
especially
Absolutely.
in standard. It's tough to score touchdowns, so he had a nice day, I think.
If you score a touchdown in a standard league, you've done your job. You're happy. That's all you can ask for.
So I'm gonna wear that badge pretty proudly going into this week.
And Inunwa.
Yeah, Nunwa also had a decent game. I mean, it wasn't as good as all the other guys we've mentioned, or I should say, it wasn't as good as Thompson's, but still had a decent game in PPR. It's he's going to have opportunities, so it's just the writing's on the wall, especially now with Decker, who may be out for the year. That's not confirmed yet, but
not confirmed. Let's hope not. Too handsome to lose.
But there's a chance that he could be. So
I spilled coffee on my stats. That's not true. It's not coffee. It's whiskey. But my boy Robbie Thompson caught a couple passes. Not Robbie
Eh,
Thompson. That would be the second baseman for the Giants in the 80s.
come on
Robbie
now.
Anderson.
Yes, it's Robbie Anderson.
Bobby A, as I affectionately call him. I'm not selling on him. I think he's coming. So maybe we talk about him again in the next podcast. We shall see.
That's fine by me. I like those dark horses. We could definitely save that.
Before we go into our injury report and top waiver pickups for week 5, let's take a short little breakity break, and we will be back before you can finish pinching a loaf. Roll it, Johnny.
Want to know which fringe players you should start or sit in your fantasy leagues? Want up-to-the-minute news and analysis from the beat reporters around the league? Follow at Fantasy Dopes on Twitter to get your fix and fill the void of having to worry about which player will feast or famine.
All right, we're back. Thank you. I hope you flushed. Let's get going on the injury report, which is a little shorter this week, thank goodness, compared to last week and the weeks prior to that. Broncos quarterback Trevor Siemian, who was doing great. I think a lot of people tried to pick him up. They were excited. Suffered an AC joint sprain in his left shoulder during the game in Tampa, which had another lightning storm that delayed the game again in the second half. I think that's 2 this year, plus 1 in the preseason.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks it happened. At least there won't be any more 4 Eastern time starts in Tampa until late November. That's when they play the Seahawks. So hopefully the rainy, stormy weather will be clear by the time November rolls along in Tampa.
Well, let's hope so.
Yes, but Simeon remains a game-time decision. Paxton Lynch was ready to potentially start his first career game if need be. And it looks like he could be an excellent streamer against a dreadful Chargers secondary.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you need a quarterback, I'd take him over. I guess the other, the lower tier guys in the league. I could definitely have a good game, but he's still a rookie. He hasn't started a game yet, so he could also throw in a couple picks in there. So be cautious. But
well, so far this season, I believe only all the rookies that have started, only one of them have thrown interceptions so far. So rookie quarterbacks have been slinging it so far this season.
Ryan Tannehill sucks. Okay, all right. What quarterbacks? Let's take a quick sec. Breeze is out this week. Who's the other quarterbacks that are out? Bortles, Russell Wilson, Bortles,
Alex Smith.
So
he could be. Yeah. They could be either one of those guys. Could be an excellent streamer. Definitely a good DFS play if you're in daily fantasy. You could definitely get a cheap quarterback. That's probably a good avenue to take.
Okay, all right. Moving along, injuries. Kevin White came out of the game with an ankle injury, did not return. John Fox is so forthcoming with information, as you know. So I'm being sarcastic there. So we'll update that on the site, fantasydopes.com, as we get more information. Des Bryant didn't play Sunday as we suspected, but it wasn't due to a partially torn ligament in his knee as it was first reported. Apparently it was a bone bruise. I don't know. I mean, I guess they can be pretty painful. What's your take on Des?
I mean, the whole MRI situation, we kind of touched up on this on Friday, is just very fishy, and it's just very weird situation. So hopefully it's just a bone bruise. It looks like he may suit up against the Bengals week 5. I say if he plays, you start him. I don't think they'll use him as a decoy. I think he's ready to roll because it seems like he was very up and running in the sidelines during the 49ers game. He looked like he wanted to be in the game. They took him out as precautionary, which I think was the right move, but it seems like he should be ready to roll.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see as the week progresses. I mean, if he can play, then you got to put him in there and let him go. And I'm talking about if you're the Cowboys. Put him in and let him loose, don't baby him. So, which is what you want if you're a fantasy over. If he's out, I want him to be out, and I'll drop him and I'll move on. I want definitive actions and answers here. All right, moving on. Larry Donnell, which is probably owned in about 90% of the league, did you say? Kidding. He had one great fantasy game. Was that 3 years ago? And he had 3 touchdowns. Remember that? Anyone?
He had a couple of decent games.
I do.
But
I started him that day.
Yeah, but I mean, deep leagues. We're deep leagues.
So he left with a concussion after getting, shellacked and massacred by linebacker Anthony Barr. That was That was dangerous. It wasn't dangerous, but I mean, it was vicious.
I think the trainer scooped up a couple of parts of his brain on the field. So, I mean,
That's tough.
yeah, if anybody had Donnell on their team, I would drop him and just pick up Will Tye for the time being. It seems like there won't be a desperate need for that in the future, tight end wise. But if some owner had him,
I
just
mean, if everyone had
drop him, take
Donnell
a.
on their team, you should just slap yourself. But let's move on. Okay. Waiver wire pickups for week 5.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to let you take this, John. You're the guru. Clearly, my pickups last week were for dog shit. So, what do you got, Johnny?
They were the dog shit. All right. So first one I got. I think I'm going to prioritize this just for this week. A season-long aspect, I think you got to look at short-term and long-term. So this pick is a short-term look. It's Terrence West, running back. If he's still available in your leagues, pick him up. I believe he'll start. He'll have a great game. If you want to spend around $28 on him, that should be fair enough. I think that's enough money to secure his rights. But right behind him, number 2, I have the other running back, Kenneth Dixon. Maybe you never know. West has a couple of bad games going forward. They look to Dixon. He's their future, and he just runs with the job. We've seen it in Chicago. It was unfortunate that Langford got injured, but had he not got injured, he still continued to play poorly. I think similar situation would have played out. So he has a chance to take West's role, and if you're in Fab, spend 21 at least on him, and you can definitely stash him for now and hope for the best in the future, especially during playoff weeks.
Well, yeah, I took a flyer on K Dix last week, knowing he wasn't going to play last week, but thinking that by this week he would be off the board. So I'm hoping that he is the future there, and I like saying K Dix.
There you go. So my third pick, it's okay. I'm just going to continue rolling along. I have Quincy Enunwa. We've obviously touched on him in this podcast. He's going to be their number 2 receiver. Excellent flex play, I believe, through the rest of the season. I don't care who their quarterback is. If it could be Geno, it can be Ryan Fitzpatrick. I still think he has some flex appeal in most standard leagues and also in PPR, more so PPR. If you spend about $12 to $14 on him and he's still available, I think that's a good pickup. Number 4, I got Eddie Royal.
Wait, I got to stop. Did you say he has sex appeal?
Flex appeal.
Flex appeal. All right.
Get your mind out of the gutter now. Come on.
I can't help it. I'm still on K Dix.
You're still on Murray too. Jesus, you got a hard
Very
on for
handsome
Murray.
Murray.
Gosh.
So you're saying just to be clear, Enunwa over Robbie Anderson.
Yes, absolutely. Anderson is not my top 5. He may be in yours in your weird world, but he's off my radar for now.
All right. Number 4.
I had to stick the knife in and twist it a little bit. So I got Eddie Royal, number 4. Hoyer looks like he trusts him a lot as a slot receiver. And with Kevin White going down, he might miss time with an ankle injury. Could be a great play against a weak Colts secondary in Indianapolis. So $11, $12, something around there. Get Eddie Royal, and you start him in your flex. I think he can have a nice day again.
And he returns punts.
He does.
Right? So
very important.
He's already had a touchdown return. So you got that going for you, brah.
So that's a great pickup. And I'm going to round out a running back in Philadelphia. No, it's not Darren Sproles. It would be their other backup, Wendell Smallwood. So I think Matthews, he's been, to say the least, underperforming so far. Sproles has been their pass-catching guy. He's been doing great in that role, actually. But he doesn't really run the rock. He doesn't go in between the tackles. They take him out for third down. Smallwood could be that guy again. It could be a great pickup just for this week. It's for the future. And if you get about $4 to $6 on him, you can definitely get him on your bench. See how he does this week. See what Matthew's situations could be. And if they wind up benching him, this kid could really roll because he is very fast.
Yeah. 5th round selection last year coming out of West Virginia University. And yeah, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about him. So, I mean, he's a deep dive, and I like it. Good one. Good one, Johnny.
That's what I'm here for, man. The house guru.
All right. Last thing we're going to touch on this week. Belichick, a man of immense and vast emotions in his press conference.
More he's like a wet mop up there.
I mean, it is comical, and it is getting old. I don't know if you saw the guy. He's asked him when they decided who was it when they decided Garoppolo was was going to be inactive, he's like, when we decided he was inactive. And he's like, oh yeah, but I'm like, was that today or yesterday? He's like, when we made the decision. And he was he's
That's
brutal.
typical Belichick answer.
But
He
he
is
did
the Sith Lord.
he did give us a glimpse into his emotional fragility on the sidelines. If you caught it, I don't know. I know that Bill Gates was very upset. He absolutely smashed his Microsoft Surface tablet. Did you see that?
It wasn't. It was like it was in between like an aggressive and passive throw. He kind of just was like he started off fast and then he kind of like let it go in like a weak throw and it just kind of bounced off the table and onto the ground. But I wonder if he has any stock. If they have like a huge stock for him, just in case like he breaks stuff. Because I feel like that wasn't his first time they did that. It was just lucky enough the cameras were on him and they caught him doing that.
It was fantastic, and clearly, whatever his wife was making for dinner, he was not happy about it. So, but that was a rare glimpse into his emotional state of mind. Anyway, all right, and then the Duke Johnson fumbling, not fumbling, recovering thing. What happened there? What do you got?
Yeah. So he was running the ball right up the middle. He fumbled, but he recovered it. Now the referee rushed over. Mind you, this was a female referee that made this call. Was searching in the pile, and then all of a sudden just signaled that the Redskins got the ball. But Duke Johnson literally had the ball up in the air and was like, "Hey, I have the ball. What do you mean that Washington has recovered?" He's like, "I got the ball." But I mean, a woman making the assumption call, that's not the first time in situations. But
Listen, that deserves some.
but just
Jillian.
Jillian's probably will slap me when she hears this.
Yeah, well,
Deservingly so, but listen, people, we're just having a little fun here. This is a
we
little
are,
fun segment.
and we think it's great that women are officiating games.
I love it. I think there should be more. There should be women coaches. I am so for women equality.
Cheerleaders, everything. I agree. All right, good stuff. I think that's gonna do it for this edition of Fantasy Dopes podcast. We don't want to force it down your throat again. FantasyDopes.com. Go there. You'll get the Twitter. You get the Facebook and all that good stuff. All right. And we're going to be updating minute-to-minute news, breaking, latest injuries, lineup changes, all of that. Check us out, and we'll be back in a day or so with another podcast. Johnny, when are we coming back with that?
Yeah, we're going to have our Week 5 rankings later in the week. Probably go up on Wednesday night. Get you right set for Thursday in the morning for you to listen, and then make sure all your picks are ready to go by Thursday night for the Thursday night football game, which is the Cardinals at the 49ers in San Francisco. So it should be either a blowout, which I think will be, or it could be a close game. We don't know. It's the NFL. Everything changes week to week. We'll see what happens, though. Tune into our Week 5 rankings to learn more.
I know nothing.
Hey, listen. That's why I'm here for you. You're the father figure to kind of keep me in line, and I'm here to give you the knowledge.
I'm George Michael. You're the fantasy guru. Fair enough. I'm Michael Herbert. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. Check us again. I love you. We're out. Johnny, take us out.
We out. Cheer.
Yeah.